The senior United Nations Economic Commission for Africa officials underline the importance of unity in fighting back the climate change in order to minimize its impacts and enhance the resilience of the people of Africa in particular and the global community at large. The officials took part in the recent United Nations Roundtable meeting on resource mobilization for the second Africa Climate Summit, which will be conducted in September of this year in Addis Ababa. In his exclusive interview with Addis Media Network, James Muromberze, coordinator of African Climate Policy Center in the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, said Africa must stand strong, solid and unified to fight the climate change impacts.
The climate negotiations have been ongoing for quite a long time. There have been a lot of steps that have been made towards achieving the objectives of the Paris Agreement, but there continue also to be huge challenges ahead. So we hope that the Africa Climate Summit is going to contribute innovative solutions to some of the challenges that are facing climate action in Africa and globally. Innovative solutions in the sense of contributing towards ideas about how to finance climate action, ideas about technological solutions, and ideas about capacity building so that we become better able to address the climate challenge. Remember that the climate change is occurring at a rate that is probably faster than the solutions that we're developing. So we need to find ways of ensuring that our response in fact matches the size of the challenge. And here we are very grateful to the government of Ethiopia for leading the African continent in this search for solutions.
Regarding the involvement of the continental organization in which he is working, Muromberze mentioned that United Nations Economic Commission for Africa is ready to render all the technical and related assistance to the African nations in their struggle against the dire situation of the climate change.
The African Climate Policy Center, ACPC, is part of an initiative, a Pan-African initiative, which is called Climate Change for Development in Africa, CLIMDEV Africa. This initiative is an initiative of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, the Africa Union Commission, and the Africa Development Bank. And it is intended to build Africa's capacity to address the climate challenge. Now, the Africa Union Commission is co-hosting the Africa Climate Summit with the government of Ethiopia. And through our membership of the CLIMDEV Africa initiative, we are supporting the hosting of the Africa Climate Summit. And one of our flagship events, the Climate Change and Development in Africa Conference, CCDA, in fact is going to be the technical pre-event of the summit, which is going to bring together all of the technical expertise of African nations to discuss the key issues that are going to be on the agenda of the Africa Climate Summit.
The Green and the Blue Economy Section Chief at the Technology, Climate Change and the Natural Resource Management Division of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, Nassim Olmen, on his part indicated, due to the very nature of climate change, nations must stand in solidarity to mitigate its impacts.
Why Africa is also offering the rest of the world with new solutions? Because the continent is facing also, in addition to the climate challenge, the development challenge. We need to also generate jobs linked to climate action. So this is the double challenge that we are facing, and we have to respond. And we started to respond to it. To it. What we need, in addition to that, is also to adapt the financial architecture to finance all these efforts. We need to mobilize climate finance. We need to mobilize the actors and the partners, and the UN partners are part of this. That's why today all the UN family is meeting with the Federal Republic of Ethiopia to really make sure that all the actors, all the partners are around the table to make this summit, the Africa Climate Summit in Addis Ababa, a success.
Officials, leaders, directors and all concerned bodies who participated in the recent resource mobilization meeting conducted at the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa Conference Hall promised to contribute their side to the successful event of the upcoming Climate Summit of Africa and beyond to Slernet.